Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new tier list with the most fun healers. Now you're probably wondering why I'm talking so chill, Flame.
You're kind of mellow today, man.
Yeah.
We did get some comments and some feedback about our recent tier list video, which I did when I was feeling a little bit Rona-ish. So I was a little bit mellow, and apparently that vibed. We're not usually like this. We're kind of like energetic dudes, energetic nerds, because that's how you are when you're a man-child.
But that's the thing, man. We're gonna try to keep this chill tone. It's not how we normally talk, but nevertheless, let's talk about healers. But first, remember to subscribe and click that bell thing because it helps so much. You got this video recommended to you. It's only natural to just subscribe. It's free and it helps us out.
Yeah, well, we're close to the 100k mark, but yeah, it does help the channel grow. And you know, when we do new stuff that's cool, you might not get it if you don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't get everything we do, so you better get it. And now, let's bring in my favorite healer of all time, the Discipline Priest. Well, it's first on the list, so we'll have to tackle it. Now, the Discipline Priest. Well, apart from it being my main alt, let's say, because I'm going to level the rogue, then going to get the priest, is it fun? Well, Discipline Priest, I feel a lot of people are scared of it, scared to get into it just because it's so different from other healers and you have to understand how the attunement mechanic works and stuff like that, but really it's not that complicated. It does require a bit of setup, but the fun element from Discipline Priest actually comes when you know you're gonna put shields on everybody to get the attunement going, and then dotting mobs and stuff and starting, you know, pumping up smites and
mind blasts
with the impruning, with the impruning also brings a lot of damage as well. That's the fun element to it. You don't just sit there and, you know, think about cooldowns and spam heals. It's different.
That's what I like about this Priest as well, because it interacts with the enemies, all of the enemies, and all of the party members. And what's really cool is that all of this healing is efficient, and it's even way better in raids when you can get like a bunch of fucking, like, evangelism is one of the coolest raid healing mechanics ever. Getting like 14 atonements out and just like spamming damage and seeing like all the numbers pop up, that's pretty fucking cool, man.
It is, man. And on top of that, it has a lot of interesting cooldowns, especially raid specific, like, you know, the dome, you know, now it gets power infusions. And so if you have like somebody who really needs that 20% haste, you get that as well. Spirit Shell, I wanted to talk about Spirit Shell. Now, it doesn't feel as powerful as we knew it. Like we used to have Spirit Shell back in the day. Like Discipline Priest was known as the Absorb Shield healer. And we got this back in the last talent, bro. Now, I feel it can work maybe better in raids. In dungeons, specifically high keys, it doesn't really add up. The value isn't, like, the duration isn't that long. The value doesn't seem that powerful. It's just, it feels like it's a hollow version of what Spirit Shell was back when Discipline Priest had it. So it's nice that they get it back. Maybe they'll change it to be a bit more competitive, at least in dungeons. I mean, it could work.
It's a very, very big difference to replace Rapture with Spirit Shell, where Rapture just gives you on-demand big absorb. So if you know that your group is gonna take a lot of damage, this is kind of like the only way the Spin Priest can resolve a lot of throughput at once with big ass absorbs. And that kind of is taken away. And the fact that Spirit Shell revolves around you putting a lot of atonements out, which is hard without evangelism.
That's the thing.
And then healing through those atonements through a lot of GCD. So I feel like you'll need a lot of haste to make use of Spirit Shell.
It's a bit clunky, you know. And other people are afraid of Discipline Priest because they kind of don't have any spot healing. There is a way around that with this legendary that was a previous Azerite trait, which buffs your Shadowman. That is pretty good, but again, you don't rely on big cast.
You kind of have to like not cast Shadowman for a minute to get the full effect of it. It's every 15 seconds. Every 15 seconds, four times.
Well, the thing is, you get huge value even after 2 stacks, right? You get 50%, so it's basically a 4 stack for 200%. But we can get into specifics. Overall, it's one of the most fun healers you can ever play. It's super rewarding. It can deliver in both dungeons and single target and raids. Granted, in dungeons it pales as performance when it comes to Resto Druids or Mistweaver Monks, but we're not talking about performance here or meta. It's fun. So
It
if
is
you want
fun,
to
it
get
is,
into it,
it
it's a definite S tier for me. I think for you too.
Yeah, no, it's I agree. It's a solid S tier.
Solid S tier. Not the easiest to get into.
No.
But let's get to another fun healer, Flame enjoys.
Yes, Holy Paladin. So I have decided to play Paladin as a main, and one of the reasons why I'm satisfied about playing it is because of Holy Paladin. I know that Marcelian is not a big fan of the Holy Power coming back. For me, it adds an interesting tactical choice. It lets me use Holy Word. Word of Glory, not Holy Word. That's
for the other one.
That's for another spec. But Word of Glory is instant. The only thing is like they need to get it off the GCD. They need to get off the GCD.
That's why you cannot play the Glimmer build, man.
And yeah, it's interesting because you also have the Glimmer build, which is weaker. It's way weaker than it is in BFA. But I know that you're not a fan of it, but I feel like in terms of playstyle, it's a lot more engaging, it's a lot more intriguing to play. It interacts more with your spells. You still have to use power infusions on flashes and holy light.
Not power infusions, infusions of light.
Infusions of light. It's another. It's okay.
Yeah, it's from the other one.
You know what I mean.
No, listen. The thing with Holy Paladin, I loved Holy Paladin all my life, and when I ever got the chance to play it, both PvP and PvE, well, dungeons especially. I love the fact that you were finally, because let's think about the fantasy, right? I love the fact that I was up close and personal with the tanks and melee DPSs doing shit because I'm a plate healer. I'm the only plate healer in the game. It only makes sense for me to be in the front line and, you know, doing as much as, you know, boring it would sound. I always, like, you know, Glimmer, Crusader Strike, Glimmer, Holy Shot, Crusader Strike, Holy Shot, Crusader Strike, you know, during that period of time. I love that in BFA. Coming from the classic Holy Paladin, which, you know, it's fine, but it's like
it's kind of like a Holy Priest, the classic Holy Paladin.
More in the sense that always Holy Paladins had, you know, the cooldown management. Okay, you had to know when to press your stuff in order to get something, you know, as opposed to Holy Priest where it's just big hills constantly spam button, right? And that became still for me once the Glimmer build was added into BFA, and you have to remember we also had the Avenging Crusader thingy, which was also more or less damagey, but the Glimmer build got it fucking straight to the point. I loved it.
I called it initially when we tested out in 8.1, I think.
So, yeah.
They were 8.1.5. I said this has to be a talent in the future, and it became a talent. And I know what you mean. It's just that after playing it a lot in PvE, it gets incredibly repetitive because in BFA it was incredibly repetitive. It's no longer repetitive anymore.
No, it's fun now.
But yeah, for me, Holy Paladin is really fun, and with the addition of Shield of the Righteous, since you're not a red, you don't need to equip a shield, you already have one. You can just smash stuff. Smash stuff super hard with Shield of the Righteous if you do need to use that holy power on damage. And I think Shield of the Righteous is off the GCD. That's where the fun becomes apparent with Holy Paladin. I talked with Marcelian before, and I thought I felt like Holy Paladin was an S tier, but I do not think it's on par with other S tier healers. Especially it's not on par with Discipline Priest,
and,
so
it also felt so we have to say this, like in the last couple of builds, Holy Paladin really fell off in terms of throughput. If you look at the latest, we're not putting emphasis on this, but it's good to take note.
Yeah.
The latest changes for the couple of 2 or 3 builds, it feels kind of in terms of throughput. That doesn't mean it's not viable, but if you want to go into S tier, we have to take all of this account.
Yeah,
it's fun, it's versatile.
I feel like all of those nerfs happen because of pre-patch and not because of Shadowlands, because Shadowlands always favored the rest of Druid in terms of mechanics. Well, we'll get to that. We have a while, but I feel Holy Paladin for me is A tier. Solid A tier.
Okay, I agree with this 100%. 100%. Another holy spec, by the way, is the Priest. Now, this is an interesting beast. And it has become, in my eyes, a kind of a stale beast since Legion moving forward. The thing is, it doesn't change too much in Shadowlands. You have a gazillion of abilities to bind the realm, that's one thing. Now with the improving, like Holy Priest was not that known for dealing too much damage. Now it has a lot more tools to deal.
It can deal.
I know, damage. It deals a lot of damage. Because of the improving, it gets a lot of stuff back for the whole Priest kit. That being said, the core fun of the Holy Priest is if you're into that classic canonical healer where you just sit somewhere and hardcast a lot of times. It's basically it. It does have huge numbers, but for us, that mechanic.
Yeah, and the problem with Holy Priest is obviously you're like a turret healer and you have to sit still a lot for all of the most important things. It's a builder spender if you really think about it. You cast small heals like Flash of Light, no, Flash Heal. I'm always confusing them. Flash Heal and normal heal, or Prayer of Healing and Renew to get Serenity and Sanctuary of cooldown. And those are like the big ass. That's very satisfying. And then, okay, I do have to say that Holy Ward Salvation is the prettiest spell in the game.
It looks good.
And it's when you shoot out all of those heals on a raid, and then you see like all of your screen fill up with green, that's incredibly satisfying. The problem is that it doesn't have a lot of variety in terms of playstyle. It's still kind of the same. You do have a few more buttons, both in damage and in healing, because Circle of Healing is no baseline. So there's more things to press, but you're kind of doing the same thing, which is nice. Maybe you just like to see that HP bar go from this to this, and that's it for you.
Yeah, that's not in our books. That's not fun. Plus, some of you old school Holy Priests know, like the former system, Holy Priest used to have the chakra system.
Oh, I heard about
that was super cool. It was basically a healer stance dance, right? I felt that version of the Holy Priest was much more engaging and if they would have reintroduced that as part of the improving in Shadowlands, it would be an S tier for me 100%. I think for you too, you would have loved it.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but right now I think it's more around C tier.
Yeah, C tier. Again, based on our opinion and experience, just standing there hard casting stuff.
Although it's efficient in terms of numbers, it's just
not our thing. Not our thing. There's other specs that can deliver throughput with much more engaging mechanics. So Holy Priest, you're a C tier.
And speaking of the devil,
right, there you go, Mistweaver Monk.
Mistweaver. We both are fans of Mistweavers, and we both play it, and we play it in different ways. I'm personally a fan of the fist weaving.
I'm not,
because I just like. The thing is, man, with fist weaving, it's fun to have renewing mist everywhere because you just extend it with rising mist, and then do one vivify, and it heals everybody. And just explode on the meters.
I know. I had my glimmer built for that fantasy. All right.
It's another healer that has to be up close and personal, so that kind of appeases my desire that I have with the Holy Paladin as well. The part that's really fun is just seeing how we can how can you be efficient with extending those heals and doing doing damage. It's not as much damage as the Holy Paladin though, if you really go into fist weaving.
I know,
but it's a lot more healing.
It's fun. I know this is super fun as a healer because you're in there, just smacking stuff karate style. It's a monk, right? That's super fun. I never got into that because I had that fantasy from the Paladin, with the melee stuff. Mechanics aside, being up close and personal with a healer, that was filled for me by the Paladin. Now, for me, when I got into Monk, I absolutely loved the suave movement, right? The manipulation of the mists. And I love the fact that I could stay way in the back and just do smart heals. I love that whole mechanic of shooting mist, poof, vivify, shooting mist, poof, vivify.
That's exactly how you have to do it when you also play.
Dude, come on. It's one of
it is fun.
One of the most easiest healers to get into, and it has a huge throughput.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I think both versions of the Mistweaver Monk playstyles, both of them are super fun. It really depends on what you want.
Just because I like fist weaving doesn't mean I don't like the other one. And for the longest time, I've played the other bit, and especially in arenas, and it's so fun to just have a couple of responses and instantly top somebody up. And let's not forget a big ass cocoon.
Oh yeah, the cocoon, man. You gotta love the cocoon. Cocoon. But as a conclusion, it is one of the easiest healers once again to get into. It's super fun, and it gets a big plus from us because it has two reliable and viable versions to play.
And I feel like whatever happens, Monk as a class is just fun.
Yeah, it is overall. So S tier, Mistweaver gets the
and
S
that's why I couldn't put Paladin S tier. It's probably because of Mistweaver.
Yeah, and it's fair, man. It's fair. I mean, judging from our experience, and we played healers both in PvE and in PvP, so we kind of get where our fun standards sit. But the next spec, Resto Druid. I have to say this from the get-go. This is like the only spec in the game that I'm afraid to get into because I feel there's so much to learn. There's so many things going on, and I have the biggest respect for Resto Druid players. Period. If I don't die, you're doing the job. I love you.
So for me, Resto Druid always felt like the Swiss Army knife of healers. It feels like it can deal with a lot of situations. And now with Cyclone being baseline, it is really good. You can interact with, dungeon affixes, with dangerous mobs. Obviously in raids for ads, you will probably have some use there. Let's not talk about PvP, man, which is pretty good.
I know. So, yeah, I always feel safe when playing with a capable Resto Druid because I know they have so many tools. Plus the fact, they can answer to basically any situation and super mobile. I know you explained to me at some point like the thing with the affinities, like it becomes. It can become like super versatile in that sense.
So the thing is with now the talents changed a little bit, and the major utility spells come with affinity. For instance, Feral Affinity gives you Maim now. You have a kidney shot, essentially. And Balance Affinity gives you Typhoon. You have Ursal Vortex baseline, so if you want Typhoon, you can go Balance Affinity. And now Balance Affinity actually does damage, and with the new talent, which is the old talent, Heart of the Wild. Now when you pop it for 40-50 seconds, you get empowered versions of all of the affinity spells. It can be Guardian Affinity. You are a legit tank or a DPS for 40-50 seconds.
Better than Pumpkin?
After the nerfs, I don't know, man. I don't know. I actually don't want to find out, man.
All right, I want to find out.
But Resto Druid has always had the nice mechanic of, it's kind of like the Spin Priest where you have to like prep stuff for big heals. You don't need to do damage, but you can do damage. And the cool part is that everything is instant. You have 1 or 2 spells that are not.
But is this what consists of its main fun component?
Yes.
This is the fun element?
Being able to like control the HP bars and be like all over the place in all shapeshift forms, having a lot of utility. You don't have to use it, but if you want to use it, it's there. For me, Resto Druid is a strong A tier.
Strong A tier. Okay, because I never played it, so I cannot say anything about it. I'll just trust the experienced one. Okay, well, in our continued chill out tier list video, we shall conclude the list with Resto Shaman.
Oh boy, let me say off the bat, Resto Shaman has, and Shaman in general has the best audio sound effects. Audible sound effect, audible effects.
But all shamans have that.
Yeah, all shamans also. But when you hear those rains and those splashes and flashes and all over the place, it's really fun. It's very satisfying to play a Resto Shaman. I feel like it just doesn't have the throughput of Resto Druids or Mistweaver Monk, clearly not the Mistweaver Monk, but it's one of like the battle healers, right? You could say that Holy Paladin is there up and close and personal, but Resto Shaman has like controls the elements, you explode shit, you throw meatballs, you have elementals and so many totems.
And pruning brought. We talked about a lot of buttons on Holy Priest. Well, here comes the Resto Shaman, which kind of competes in that area. You need a lot of free keybinds for everything a Resto Shaman
we don't
has.
have elemental resist totems anymore. Fire, frost.
Okay. The thing about Resto Shaman, like I always felt like Resto Shaman was kind of a complete healer spec rounded up, but that's for me. And I played it mostly in PvP. It felt like similar to Resto Druid in the sense that it had an answer for everything. Now, clearly, this wasn't the case in PvE. I know single target was still an issue. I don't know, is it still an issue in Shadowlands?
Well, it's not necessarily, we haven't properly tested it in raid yet to know how much single target is a problem, but it hasn't really been addressed either. Right. So I would put my money on it's probably the same, because the mastery of Resto Shaman, which focuses on dealing large heals, is expect your target to be low HP, and you don't really want to put your money on your target being low HP. You can do some incredible clutch heals with Resto Shaman, that's for sure. But it's not like an infusion of light, holy light from a holy paladin, where when you finish that cast, that target is gonna be fine.
It's a guarantee, but in terms of being fun, Resto Shaman, it's definitely a fun healing spec.
It's fun.
That's the thing, because when we're comparing it to Holy Priest, it's not as holy. It has a lot of buttons like Holy Priest, but man, does it circle around a lot of things. So.
Yeah, it has hard casts, but also feels like it has a lot of tools to deal with, like a Resto Druid. So I cannot put it on the same tier list as a Resto Druid, but it's nowhere near Holy Priest. That's why it's a B tier.
It's a B tier, 100%. Yeah. Okay, there you go, guys. This is the fun tier list in, again, a chill manner. We cannot get too passionate about it.
To relax and be zen.
Okay, let's make it chill. So let's take a look at the overview. We have S tier, Discipline Priest and Mistweaver Monk. We have A tier, Flame's favorite, Holy Paladin and Bristol Druid. I think both of these are one of your
those
favorites.
are pretty good.
All right, B tier, Resto Shaman, and C tier, Holy Priest. Now, this doesn't mean that whatever the spec you're considering playing,
These are not meta tier lists. It's not which one is the best. It's what we enjoy playing.
Yeah, it's what we consider fun again, but we're also super open for you to disagree. We absolutely love reading in the comments your arguments. Okay, this is why I agree with this, and this is why I don't agree with that. So throw it in the comments, you know.
Speaking of the comments, yeah, no survival hunter this time. we had that like in 2 tier lists talking about survival hunters. Like, okay, guys, survival hunter is melee. It's fine, just forget about it. It's melee. It's not another spec.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is our opinion, our impression of what fun is. If you like it, we know we're cool with that. If you don't, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we want to know what's S tier for you. What is S tier for you?
But this has been a really interesting experiment because we don't usually talk like this. The way you see us usually in the videos is how we talk, sometimes even louder and more passionate.
We had to drink a lot of hot milk, man.
Yeah.
Get mellow.
I had my lemon water over there. So let us know how you feel about this chill approach also. I know Flame had a lot of good feedback, but that was because he was a little bit ill.
I had a little bit of the Rona.
But we're curious to see if this works for the future. Thank you so much for our Patreons who are supporting these types of content, tier lists, class guides, WoW weekly news shows, the MoCast podcast, the streams. Cannot forget about our Twitch boys.
The support that we've gotten on stream lately, it's been crazy. Thank you guys for loving it. Then yeah, you can also catch our stream at twitch.tv/MarcelianOnline, where we record all of this stuff, all of the footage that you see. Probably around there. It's been recorded live most of the time, so you can come and check it out and hang out.
Yeah. And also be on the lookout for a very, very close announcement regarding the Shadowlands launch and a very special stream for that with tons of giveaways and a couple of new surprises. So be sure to be connected, you know, with the Twitters and the Discords and all of that. Information and news is about to come. And with that,
thank you for watching the video. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.